Chapter 11. Jeff's Point of View. I sat outside watching them sit on a couch, watching TV before they leave for the airport. It's boring, watching her, but it pays off when I get to piss her off and scare the shit out of her. I was sitting in one of the many bare trees and glancing back to the forest every once in a while. It surprised me that she hadn't become one of his victims yet. I shook my head to clear away my thoughts, and I looked back at the window. They were getting their stuff, and I could tell they were ready to leave. I had rummaged through their tickets to find out where they were going, and decided to give her some peace before I scared the shit out of her again. Although, last time it seemed that she is handling this stuff better, which means I should probably pounce soon. But I can wait. I want to get a couple of reactions out of her mom, too. The way she reacted last time I showed up was gorgeous. Pure fear. My absolute favorite. I smiled as I thought of the ways I could terrorize that family even further. I could hurt that detective more, or I could scare the mom into insanity. I also made that detective go insane from fear, so maybe her mom will crack easily too. My smile faded as I remembered that stupid party. I crossed my arms over my chest and looked back at the forest. When I looked down, I frowned as my eyes caught a glance of Jane below me. "What do you want, hag?" I spat at her. She smiled and chuckled to herself. "Oh, I was just walking through. I find it interesting that you're so devoted to your little detective." I caught the hint she was dropping in her voice and reached for the knife in my pocket. "If you're suggesting what I think you are, then you better get going before I throw my knife through your head," I threatened her. She shrugged and walked into the forest with a wave. I looked back at the houses with disgust. I looked towards one of the detective's neighbor's house and decided to take a life or two. I jumped down from the tree and started walking towards the fence to their house. I grabbed the top and slung myself over with ease and landed on my feet and started walking towards the back door. I peered inside a near window and saw a couple making out on the couch. They looked like teenagers, the ones that give some of the best reactions. I smiled to myself and walked back to the door. I gently shoved my knife into the lock and jiggled it around until the door unlocked. I slipped the door open and looked at the couple. Their eyes landed on me when they had heard the door open. I smiled and watched as the girl tried to reach for her phone. I chuckled and grabbed the boy by the back of his shirt, pulled him off the couch, and shoved my knife into his stomach. I listened as the girl let out a beautiful scream. I felt my smile widen and I started to twist my knife around in his gut. He began to scream out in pain as his guts started to leave his stomach. I let out a laugh and forced the knife deeper into his stomach as the blade nearly disappeared. I started to push more slowly, causing him to scream in his everlasting pain. I pulled my knife out quickly, pulling out quite a bit of his guts along with it. I shook the guts off my knife and dropped the boy. He fell to the ground with a loud thud, and I watched as his eyes started to slowly gloss over. I turned around and looked towards the girl, who was frozen in fear. I started to walk towards her, and beautiful screams filled the air. I jumped on her and pinned her down with little ease. She tried to struggle, but I did nothing to help her. I chuckled and shook my head. "Shh, it's okay. Everything will be over soon. Just go to sleep," I said, pushing my knife into her stomach. Fear erupted in her eyes, and she let out several screams as I stabbed her over and over again. I threw myself into a fit of laughter as I stabbed her corpse, making bleed more and more. When I was finally able to stop laughing, I let my arms roll to my side. I looked up at the ceiling and let out a sigh. I got up and looked at my blood-coated hands. I walked over to the TV, wrote my famous words on the black screen. Once I had made sure to put the blood everywhere, I left the house and entered the forest. I'd seen his black legs several times, but ignored it and the static that was in my ears. Eventually, I found the lake I was looking for, and I slipped off my jacket. I dipped it in the water and rinsed the blood off. I then slipped off my dress pants and did the same. Once they were dry, the sun was setting, and I pulled them on, grabbed branches that were falling to the ground, and eventually lit it. I sat there in the cold, only that flimsy fire to keep me warm. As I sat there, I remembered that detective bringing up Lou, and my thoughts slowly drifted to that night without me being able to stop them. I listened to my mom scream as I repeatedly plunged the knife deep into her skin. When I heard the sound of Dad loading his gun, I turned towards him and buried my knife into his heart, not caring that he was dead. I gutted him. Mom watched in horror as I ripped the guts from her husband's body. You lied, Mommy. Why'd you lie to me? I yelled, turned back towards her. She screamed again as I jumped on top of her, grabbed my knife with both hands and pushed it against her forehead. She tried to push me away, but that just made me push harder. And with a satisfying crack, she stopped moving. Forever. I jumped up and started to laugh, but then I remembered Lou, how he was still asleep in his room and how he needed to die just like Mom and Dad did. They all deserved to die. They lied to me. No one will ever live if they think they can lie to me. I burst open the door to my parents' bedroom and ran down the hall towards Lou. I opened the door slowly to see Lou sitting up in bed. I saw that he was about to scream, and I jumped on him, covering his mouth. Shh. Just go to sleep, I said as I plunged the knife into his side. He didn't scream, he just struggled helplessly. I looked at him when I realized that he wasn't even trying to struggle anymore. He took a deep breath and looked at me in the eyes. He smiled, and then his chest stopped moving and I couldn't hear him breathe anymore. Lou? I asked as I looked at his motionless body. It hit what I had done. I let a scream. I scrambled out of the bed and backed my way into the corner of the room. I could hear the sound of people approaching the room and let my memory go to black, and only the sound of screams resonate in my mind. I looked out of the lake with a sigh and leaned against a tree. I pulled out a sleeping mask that I hadn't bothered to wash and pulled it over my face. I sighed again and tried to sleep and get the memories out of my head. I wrapped my arms around myself as I tried to shield myself from the cold. I decided on getting some rest, to leave at dawn for wherever I need to go to get her. I don't remember now, but I'll be able to remember by sunrise. I sat and I remember that the cops have dogs, and I pulled off the mask and stomped on the fire to put it out. I started to make my way towards another part of the forest and get the dogs off my scent. As soon as I was in the forest, I broke into a run and didn't care that he was following me. He's been following me around since our little accident with the forest fire, and I don't remember much, but I do remember the feel of that fire, and I know I went nuts. I tripped on ruts several times, but ignored them. I just need to get away, so dogs can't follow. It was going to be a hard task if he keeps following me, but I'd be able to make it fine. I'll be fine. What a lie that was.